another episode of the Highlight Reel. My name is Nick Lynch.
And I'm Ben Heltzer.
And free agency is finally starting to heat up, so today we'll be going over some of the big trades and sign-ins that happened over the past week. So with the Seahawks, they trade away two big pieces of their offense, Geno Smith to the Raiders and DK Metcalf to the Steelers. But then they signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100 million deal, or 4-year, $100 million deal. I'm honestly shocked with the moves the Seahawks are making. I think they upgraded at quarterback a little bit, but they also downgraded at wide receiver. Like, the Seahawks offense last week compared to this week is a lot different.
Yeah, and I was definitely shocked at how they got the ball rolling, but as soon as they did, like, the moves that followed made sense because, like, DK was always leaving, and I didn't think that they were going to get rid of Geno like that. I thought they were going to keep him for at least another year, but as soon as they did, I knew that they were going to replace him with Sam Darnold because, he wasn't staying in Minnesota, and he just proved himself to be a good quarterback in a given situation. But I just don't know if I trust Sam Darnold with that offense as much as I would trust Geno because, like, sure, he balled out last year, but it was because, he had Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison to throw to. He had a good run game and a great O-line. I just don't know if he's going to be able to produce the same in Seattle with not as good of a situation.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Jaclin Smith-Njigba does, who's now the Seahawks wide receiver one. And, I think him and Sam Darnold can have something next season. I don't know how many touchdowns that they're going to have to each other, but, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing
Yeah,
that.
I agree. JSN's amazing. He should have been, in my opinion, he should have been their wide receiver one all throughout last year, too. He's just so talented. But that's really all Sam has, and I just don't know how it's gonna go for Seattle, especially in a tough division.
Yeah. So next we're going to move on. Davante Adams signs with the Los Angeles Rams. I'm honestly kind of surprised with this move. Like, I thought Adams would have gone somewhere else, but I think we all knew he was leaving the Jets. And, like, Adams, because, the Rams, they're going to release Cooper Kupp and or trade him. But, like, I think I'm kind of shocked with that, with the Davante Adams addition. Like, I think they would have gone with another position since they were getting rid of Cooper Kupp.
I am shocked a little bit, but I'm also not at the same time. Obviously, like you said, Cooper Kupp did confirm that he was leaving a while ago. So they had to. I feel like they had to replace him with someone that's kind of like him, like a great talent, but also like a vet guy who can kind of lead the locker room in that sense. And Davante Adams is a great fit, in my opinion. Like, him and Puka Nacua are going to be amazing. But I just thought Davante would just go with Rodgers. Like, they're both coming down to the end of their career. I thought they'd just stick together and maybe even retire together. But obviously Rodgers is not going to L.A. because they announced that they're keeping Stafford. So it's going to be interesting to see where Rodgers goes. But I think that Davante in L.A. does make sense, actually, now that it happened. And I think he'll do great.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering whether the Rams would, whether they would boost up the offensive line or the secondary. I didn't expect them to go for a receiver, but like now, like you said, I like the addition now with Davante Adams. It was a little confusing when I first heard about it, but I think it's a good sign. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills, they signed Josh Allen to a big extension. Keeping him for a while. I think he's going to play the rest of his career with the Bills. I don't see him leaving.
No, I think he should definitely stick with them for at least, like, I mean, I could see him maybe pulling a Tom Brady and going somewhere else for, like, the last few years. But I think that he was long overdue for a really nice extension. I mean, he just won MVP. I think it's like a 6-year deal, $250 million guaranteed, the most money guaranteed, I think, ever. And it makes him right up there as one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. And it's definitely deserved. But the other Bills move that I do want to talk about is Joey Bosa, because they had released Von Miller, and we thought that they were going to go after, like, a bigger guy, like a bigger defensive lineman like Myles Garrett or Max Crosby, but both of those guys were off the table. So they decided to settle for Joey Bosa. And I don't hate it, but I just feel like it's kind of just replacing Von Miller with another Von Miller, like just old, expensive, a little injury prone. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm excited to see his potential.
Yeah, I mean, I like that signing with Joey Bosa, I think. I think he's a really good pass rusher. The Bills definitely needed him, and I think that his brother Nick, they're both great defensive linemen, but I think Joey is just what the Bills needed. I think he's that missing piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, and actually, I think he was supposed to go to San Francisco. Like, he had a deal in the works with San Francisco, and it made sense because they had just released Leonard Floyd, and I think they were about to, go and get him to pair him up with his brother. But, like, something fell through, or maybe San Fran just didn't have the money that they thought they had, or Buffalo just swooped in. But regardless, he's now on the Bills, and I think it's a great addition to that defense.
Yeah, so the other signing we're going to talk about, Justin Fields to the New York Jets. I mean, I never saw this coming. I knew the Jets needed a quarterback. I thought they were going to trade up, honestly, and draft a quarterback. But, I like this Fields signing. Like, I feel like it could either go great or horribly wrong. But, I like this addition for the Jets. I think him and Garrett Wilson with that quarterback wide receiver duo can be one of the best in the league.
Yeah, no, I love this signing. I agree with you. I thought that they were gonna maybe wait another year or two and then draft a quarterback, but I think, like, why not take the risk? Like, Fields he's young, he's shown flashes of brilliance in the past, and you put him, like, in that situation, I really do think he's gonna thrive, especially with Garrett Wilson to throw to, former Ohio State teammates back in college. I love this for Justin Fields. Even though I am a Bills fan and it's a division rival, I do really like this for the Jets. I think that it's kind of what they needed, like a young, kind of proven but also kind of unproven guy. And, I think he'll do great.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be competing at the top of the AFC East. I think.
No, maybe not competing with, like, the Bills, but they could maybe sneak in to a wild card spot. I know the AFC is really tough. But, you never know. Look at Washington, like, this past year with Jaden Daniels. Like, anyone can break out at any given moment. So I think that it's great that Fields is getting, like, a real opportunity.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to beat, like, Miami, maybe New England, I feel like. But, yeah, I think the Jets are going to do better than.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us on the NFL, but up next is me and Smitty talking about hockey.
Hello and welcome back to the NHL on the Highlight Reel. I'm Smitty and this is Nick Lynch. This week we're just going to discuss the trade deadline and what happened from last week.
So the Devils get defenseman Dennis Cholowski. I think this is a good signing because especially, with the Devils, Jonas Siegenthaler, his season's done.
Yep.
I think it's a good addition for the Devils.
I don't even know who Beckman is. Do you even know who he is? Adam Beckman?
Adam Beckman. I think it's just one of those guys that the Islanders, they're trying to keep their season alive, but they're kind of far down in the playoff race.
Yeah, I hear you. And then moving on, one of the few Bruins trades, they trade Mark McLaughlin to the Devils, and they get Daniel Mysil, who I think in the long run will definitely help the Bruins. Not this year. He won't play this year or next year. But I think that's a good trade. Mark McLaughlin to the Devils, that's also like what you're talking about, building on, especially with Jack Hughes getting hurt. I think he could not like fill a spot, but definitely maybe make the lineup in the playoffs. But he's a good player. And then also another Bruins trade with the Sabres. The Bruins get defenseman Henry Yakarari, who's a great defenseman. He was one of the, I think, top 3 defensemen on the Sabres, and then the Sabres get a 2026 fourth-round pick.
And then moving on to the West, Colorado gets Eric Johnson, defenseman, and the Flyers get Giovanni Smith. I think this is a great trade for the Avalanche, especially. I think the Avalanche are going for the Cup this year.
Yep.
Again.
So they're just stacking up.
Yeah.
And Eric Johnson, a very good defenseman, but also Giovanni Smith, a very good forward. But like you said, very good trade.
Mm-hmm. And then in New York, the Rangers get Nicholas Aube-Kubel. I think, and the Sabres get Eric Brainstrom, but I think this is. It's not like a major trade.
No, teams on the deadline are just trying to like get rid of people and see who could do better than what they did or do better in their lineup. So it's not like a big trade, but moving back, we got the Blackhawks and the Utah Hockey Club. The Blackhawks get Victor Soderstrom, Soderstrom, or whatever his name is, Ratty, and Shea Weber's contract, which I don't even know he was in the NHL still. I thought he retired. But then the hockey club, in return, gets a 2026 sixth-round pick. But like I said, I didn't even know Shea Weber was still in the league. I thought he retired.
I mean, with that defenseman the Blackhawks got, I think it's just more for next season to kind of build around Connor Bedard.
Yep. And then the Senators traded with the Sharks, Fabian Zetterlund, Tristan Robbins, and a fourth-round pick to the Senators. And then the Sharks get Zach Ospachuk and Noah Gregor, and also a 2025 second-round pick. Senators getting Fabian Zetterlund, that's a great pickup, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Ottawa, they're one of the division leaders, they're the wild card now, but they're very close to the division leaders.
Yep.
But I think, the Senators are trying to make a playoff push, and I think they can.
Yeah,
and with Zetterlund, this is a great pickup.
Yeah, they destroyed the Bruins last night. They scored they scored 3 in a matter of 5 minutes last night. So I definitely think the Senators are stacking up, and they will definitely make a run for it in the playoffs. And then moving back to the Bruins, the biggest trade, I think, out of everything during the deadline, Brad Marchand to the Florida Panthers for a conditional 2027 second-round pick. I think awful trade, just awful.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed with the Boston Bruins at the trade deadline.
I don't understand why Don Sweeney is still in office.
Yeah, I mean, the Bruins, they're not even out of contention. I don't know why you would trade one of your biggest players to a team that you're competing with and a division rival for the Stanley Cup. I don't know why.
And I get that he's old and he is hurt right now, but still, we could have got so much more for him. Especially instead of a 2027 conditional second rounder, which, if all terms go to right, it will turn into a first rounder, but we'll see what happens.
And then the Maple Leafs and the Bruins also make a trade. Toronto gets Brendan Carlo from Boston and future considerations that were from the Penguins. And Boston gets center Fraser Minton and a first-round pick.
I think that's a great trade. The Bruins definitely need picks. That's what the whole idea of this trade deadline was, but the conditional second rounder for Brad Marchand just wasn't it.
Yeah, and then the Penguins get Connor Timmins and Connor Dewar. I think that the Penguins are trying to keep the era alive with Sidney Crosby, but I mean, they've just been on a cold streak, losing game after game, and I don't think it's enough for Pittsburgh to make the playoffs at all.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But I forgot to put one trade on there, again, with the Bruins. Casey Middlestat from the Colorado Avalanche and Charlie Coyle. I don't think it was a 1-for-1. I think we also got a pick for it and traded somebody else out there. But I think that was the best trade out of all the trades that the Bruins did. Definitely, Casey Middlestat is definitely not much better, but is better than Charlie Coyle. So I think that was the best trade out of all the Bruins. But that's going to do it for this week on the NHL on the highlight reel. Thank you for watching. See you next time. But stay tuned for Andrew talking about soccer.
Hello, I am Andrew Mirzaaghasi, and I will be talking about soccer once again. So, Man City versus Nottingham Forest. I am so disappointed in this team. We literally had multiple opportunities to score, but yet we ended up losing 0-1. How? We ended up scoring 3 goals in an FA Cup round, and we ended up scoring more there than in the Premier League. How do we do this? And this brought Man City down to the Europa League status, which is not even good. I know we ended up losing in the Champions League multiple times, especially against Real Madrid, but how are we going to do that? If they keep going like this, we're probably going to not even be top 5 anymore. I honestly have no clue what we're going to do. But due to this short Man City news, we will be moving on to Barcelona. Barca with a short victory over Benfica with 1-0. This is the first leg of the Champions League. This is an okay victory, but still it matters because this is first of 2. Hopefully in the second leg, I would predict 3-0 or 2-1. But with the second leg happening, I should have just mashed up those predictions because Barcelona was able to beat Benfica 3-1, with Barcelona being advanced into the quarterfinals, thanks to Rafinha and Yamal, who were able to score during this game and get the team into a quarterfinal. So good for them, and hopefully we'll see what their opponents would be. Now, before we move to the La Liga, I have to talk about this because this literally happened. There was Liverpool versus PSG, with Liverpool in the first leg pulling a 1-0 lead in the first leg. However, with the second leg, they just completely fell apart. Literally 0-1 PSG. Of course, there has to be a winner in the Champions League, so it went to penalties. I would be embarrassed if I was a Liverpool fan right now, because they ended up losing 4-1 on penalties against PSG. How does this happen? They were literally first in the Champions League. Basically, second was Barcelona, by the way. They had it all in their hands. They literally had a tremble coming in. They lost out in an FA Cup against a team that is not even good enough to be in the Premier League this year. And they lost to PSG, who was in 15th place in the Champions League, and they lost to them in not only in the second leg, but also in penalties 4-1. I would be embarrassed. I think this is more embarrassing than Man City just losing to Real Madrid. This is completely embarrassment. The only thing they can now have is just the Premier League, because honestly, I just have no clue what Liverpool's doing at this point. So moving on, there was supposed to be Barca versus Arashura in the La Liga. However, it got postponed because it turned out the reason for the postponement was because of the club's doctor for Barca ended up dying suddenly to a heart attack, which is pretty sad. So they ended up having to postpone the match until further notice. However, they haven't given a date yet, so we will have to see and find out for that. Ending in the land of US of A, we have Inter Miami versus Cavalier for the Champions Cup, in which in the first leg, it was an Inter Miami victory of 2-0, with Al Dente and Suarez both scoring in this game. This was a good start for the first leg. Hopefully they can keep and secure the win in the second leg for the Champions Cup. For the MLS actual season, not the Champions Cup, there would be Miami versus Charlotte FC, which was 1-0. Inter Miami is doing okay so far in this season. Not scoring-wise. I hope they score more in the future. However, for the third match in a row, Messi didn't show up. This has nothing to do with travel reasons. This was because the coach decided not to put him in because their goalie ended up getting a red card during this game. So they decide, hey, let's not risk it and just not put Messi in the game. So that's why he couldn't play. The reasons get varied why Messi can't play, but I don't know. It's up to the coaching, and the coaching did what he thought was best, but at least they won at the end. So moving on to our standings, first place we have Liverpool with 70 points, second place Arsenal with 55 points, third place Nottingham Forest with 51 points, fourth place Chelsea with 49 points, and fifth is Man City with 47 points. I cannot begin to disarray with the amount of disappointment I have with Man City just ending up being fifth. Literally a win against Nottingham Forest would at least kept us, but there's literally a whole battlefield on who goes to Europa and who goes to Champions League in fourth place right now. And Man City isn't doing too good at all. It is literally a possible 4-team war depending on who moves on to these international championships. So far, Man City isn't looking too good. The only thing they have right now is the FA Cup, depending on how well they do. They're going against Bournemouth in the FA Cup, so I have no clue what they're going to do right now. I'm honestly seeing that I think Rodri just cursed this team ever since he won the Ballon d'Or and ever since he got injured, because we literally cannot do anything. Haaland is our only striker. He tries to make many attempts. He's getting frustrated. Our other talent has the possibility of scoring, but they can't do it. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know the fate of this team, of what next year is going to bring for them. But honestly, all I can say is they either go Europa or nothing, or Champions League, but then fail next year. No clue what's going to happen. But that's all for soccer, but don't go anywhere because Rocco and Matt will be talking about the NBA.
Hello and welcome back to the NBA segment on the highlight reel. We're back to cover this past weekend. Let's start off with Saturday. We had the Wizards and the Raptors. Wizards taking this one 118-117. What did you think of this close game, Rocco?
Well, first off, Jordan Poole, 34 points, and Bilal Coulibaly with a nice 18-piece. I get it. Look, there's not much to like about either one of these teams, but you see a competitive game, and you like it. It's all you can ask for. I think both teams are heading towards the lottery, and
it's really all that there is to it. These are two teams that are not competing for a title or a play-in spot. So let's just see who gets closer.
Who's better?
Closer, to Cooper Flag.
Moving on, we got the Lakers and the Celtics. Celtics taking this one, 111 to 101. We had Jason Tatum 40 points, Jaylen Brown with 31 points. I just wanted to point out Luka 34 and LeBron 22. What are your thoughts on that?
I just cannot stand the Boston Celtics. For whatever reason, I get it. They're a team from Boston. I don't like any of the teams from Massachusetts to begin with, so there's already that. I just don't think the Celtics are really ready to just compete for a championship this year. Sure, they're probably going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if I could see the Knicks making it past, especially if Brunson's not completely healthy. But I see the Cavs, they're just a better team. And until we get there, it's just nice to take away what the Celtics did against the Lakers because they played a good game. But my takeaway from this, the biggest one, if Luka and LeBron both healthy 100%, I think this team right here is a top 3 team in the NBA. So good on the Celtics for getting that win. They needed that one, especially after how that Thunder game went a few days later. So good one for Boston, and Coach Mazzulla's team continues to march even closer.
Moving on to Sunday, we got the Pelicans against the Grizzlies. Grizzlies taking this one, 107 to 104. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, John Morant and Desmond Bane doing what they usually do best. They cook over 30 points each, and the Grizzlies just trying to really mount themselves to title contention, and that's really all there is to this Grizzlies team. It's just they're stacked, but they're also inconsistent. They're kind of like the Knicks, except the Knicks actually beat some good teams this year, and the Grizzlies are just very, weird. If John Morant's got his head straight and he's ready and locked in, they can beat anybody. But the Grizzlies did a great job in this one, and I think it's a good on them for moving forward. They're going to be able to really compete in the Western Conference.
That's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the NBA segment, but next up is Luke and Myles on the MLB.
Welcome to the highlight reel. As we get closer to another opening day, we'll be giving our MLB award predictions. Luke, give me your MVP, Rook of the Year, and Cy Young prediction.
So for the AL MVP, I have Aaron Judge winning again. He's been insane just the last couple of years. I know he was injured a little bit in 2 years ago, but last year he hit 58 home runs, was very close to the batting title, hit over 300 again. Obviously, he had Juan Soto in front of him, but he's the best hitter in the major league. I don't think there's anything that's going to slow him down. I think he wins another MVP, another great season. He'll be back in right field, which is better for him defensively. Doesn't have to run as much. And, yeah, I just think it's another great year for him.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious AL MVP pick. I mean, you could see Bobby Witt.
See Witt.
Yeah, but that's not really. I mean, he's the best hitter in the American League, obviously. His home run total could go down to 54, and that would be a career high for anyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty easy MVP pick.
Mm-hmm. Rookie of the year, I'm going to go with Jason Dominguez, another Yankee. He's got to step up. Now, with losing Soto, he's the guy that they called up. You can't replace Soto, but he's got to be good. He's got to be better than Verdugo. He's got to hit.
Well, that's easy to do.
Yeah, that is pretty easy. He's got to hit 250, maybe 20 homers. That would be a good year. That wins you. I think that wins him Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he's got to learn how to catch the ball in the
He'll
outfield.
be fine. I'm not worried about his outfield.
He can't catch the ball. That's the problem. I mean,
it's bad reads in left.
I could
He needs
do
to get
that.
used to left field. He's played center field his whole life.
My dad taught me, your first move is always move back as an outfielder. How does he not know that?
He'll be fine. He needs to learn left field. It's a tough left field at Yankee Stadium. He's getting used to it right now in spring training.
That's the one issue. If he can't play in the outfield, what good is he?
He could play center if he fails in left. They'll move him to
If he
center.
fail-
He's played center his whole life. He's been a good fielder.
it's still harder than left.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Not for a guy who's played center his whole life.
He can't catch the ball. You need
worried
to
about
catch
that.
the ball.
He'll be fine.
He can hit, but gosh, how bad defensively can you be? But all right, give me your Rookie of the Year.
I just
Oh, right. Your
Rookie of the Year.
Your Cy Young.
I have Tarek Skubal. Obviously, another predictable one. He won Cy Young last year. I just don't think especially with Garrett Cole out now. I don't think there's another guy in the AL that's really close. Maybe your guy Kershaw from the Red Sox, but I don't think anyone else in the AL is like that good of a pitcher that could really take it from him.
So you have repeat MVP and Cy Young.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I know Judge, it would take a down year for Judge not to win MVP.
A down year for Judges. I don't think Judge is not going to win the MVP. I think that's clear.
Yeah.
As long as he
And I
does
just
what he
don't
does.
think in the AL there's many other pitchers. Like,
Pitchers, yeah.
what other pitchers would you have that could be better than Skubal?
Boy, I mean, if McClanahan comes back.
Yeah.
But
like,
that's
there
a big
aren't
if.
Many pitchers.
Yeah.
So who do you have for your Rookie of the Year in the NL?
For my Rookie of the Year is Rokai Sasaki. Coming over from Japan. I mean, it's basically the Dodgers AAA team at this point. He throws 100-mile-an-hour plus fastball. He's only 23 years old. He's a crazy splitter that nobody can seem to hit. That's his off-speed pitch. And I really think it's pretty obvious that he's going to win it if he stays healthy. With pitchers, that's obviously the big question mark nowadays. But I think he's just going to be great in that Dodgers rotation. They always know what to do with pitchers, so I'm not worried about that pick.
Yeah, I just think they got a big rotation. I think he'll still win it. But there are other guys who could win it in the NL. There are good rookies, but he should win it. If he stays healthy and pitches the whole year, close to how he pitched in Japan, he'll easily win it.
Yeah. So moving on to my MVP, no surprise, Shohei Ohtani. He hits, he pitches, he can do everything. Steal bases now, apparently last season. And he's just incredible. I think he's the best hitter in the MLB. Just overall hitting, you put Judge and Ohtani in a competition. I'm taking Ohtani hitting the ball, but
I would take Judge, but they're neck and neck.
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
neck and
close.
neck. Yeah.
I think Judge is a better hitter. Ohtani has more of the speed, could steal bases.
Mm-hmm.
He's better all around, obviously, because he pitches. So
yeah, he's going to give like a 12-war season.
yeah,
That's incredible. He's easily going to be.
yeah. If he stays healthy, and even if he doesn't stay healthy like he was last year, he'll win the NL MVP.
I mean, we're going to be doing these predictions next year. He's probably going to win the MVP again.
I don't see how you ever beat him.
He hits it. I mean, just
If he hits like 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases, even if he doesn't pitch, he'll win MVP like he did last year.
yeah, but though you can't beat his WAR total.
Yeah.
Like that's just unfair.
Yeah.
So now moving on to my Cy Young pick. I got Tyler Glass now, the Dodgers. I know it's a little bit of a controversial pick, but I finally think this is the year that he stays healthy. Last year he had a 3.46 ERA, throws a nasty curveball, throws a fastball 45% of the time. Big fastball curveball guy. He's 6'7", big looping curveball, and I think the Dodgers are finally going to unlock him and let him stay healthy.
I completely disagree. I don't think there's any way he stays healthy for a full season.
So he's like Luka. He can't stay healthy.
Yeah, but at the same time, the Dodgers don't need him in the regular season. They got 6, 7 starters. They got, with Ohtani, if he pitches all, they got Sasaki, Yamamoto. They got Snell now.
Tony
They
Gonsolin.
got Gonsolin. They got Bobby Miller if he comes back. They got Kershaw. There's
Yeah,
so many
Kershaw.
starters that they're not going to need him to pitch that many innings.
And that's why he's going to stay healthy.
He might stay healthy, but will he get more
He's
than
going to be
150 innings?
he's going to be so effective in those innings. They're going to have no choice but to give it to him. And
You might
unlike
be right, but I
yeah.
don't. They could have. You could see 7 guys starting like in a rotation like once a week for them.
oh well, I still think he's going to win it. So that's all we have this week on the highlight reel.